Hey, movie lovers. This is Leo.
Mike.
And Kevin from Films and Fermentation.
If you love comedy, movies, and a good drink in hand, then you need to check out the Pod Nation Media Network.
It's home to a variety of amazing podcasts covering everything from pulp culture to history and, of course, movies like ours.
And the best part, Pod Nation Media Network is featured on Roku, so you can stream your favorite podcasts anytime.
Alongside Films and Fermentation, you'll find other fantastic shows like the KJ&A podcast, The Undiscovered Entrepreneur, Real Sharks, and so many more.
So grab a drink, press play, and join the fun with Pod Nation Media Network.
Because everything's better with a little comedy, movies, and booze.
Learn more by going to linktree.com/PodNationPods.
Films and fermentation, movies and inebriation. Films and fermentation, comedy mixed with tasty libation. Films and fermentation, with Leo, Kevman, and Mike.
Hey, everybody. Welcome to episode 189 of Films and Fermentation. It is Cult Films of the 80s. That's right. We are Films and Fermentation, a movie and alcohol podcast, the number one pop culture podcast on Good Pods, and the number one beer podcast on Good Pods. I'm Leo.
I'm Kevin.
I'm Mike.
And I'm Cthulhu Jack.
And that's Cthulhu Jack joining us once again as a special guest on our show. I was looking it up, Jack. The last episode you were on was episode 164, which means it's been exactly 25 episodes since you've been a guest of ours.
Wow, that's fantastic. Well, thank you.
Yeah.
I'm super happy to be back.
I'm happy you're here. Yeah, I think this is the perfect topic for you to join us for. You are a very knowledgeable person when it comes to movies. I bow to your superior knowledge, actually. So this should be a fun one. We're three friends who like to talk shit about movies while getting shit-faced. In this episode, we celebrate the movies that time forgot, but true fans never did. Today, we're diving into the wild, weird, and wonderfully offbeat world of 80s cult classics. These are the films that bombed at the box office but thrived in the VHS trenches, living on through midnight screenings and devoted fandoms. From kung fu rock operas to time-traveling phone booths, the 80s gave us some of the most gloriously bizarre cinema ever. So grab a drink, dust off your old VHS tapes, and let's get weird. Don't forget, you can drop us an email at filmsandfermentation@gmail.com or visit linktree.com/filmsandfermentation to find all of our social media and podcast links. Become part of the Films and Fermentation family. We are now part of the Pod Nation Media Network on Roku. We are an independent podcast, which means we are listener supported. So please consider joining our Patreon for as little as $1 a month to receive members-only content. That's right. For $1 donation, Mike will come to your house to chew bubblegum and kick ass.
And I'm all out of bubblegum.
Good timing, sir. That's patreon.com/films and fermentation, or you can buy our merchandise at teespring.com. You can also text us at the official Films and Fermentation text line, 904-867-4466.
Yes, text us and tell Leo he talks too much.
So, Jack, you may not have heard that in one of our previous episodes. Our very first text that we ever got on the text line said, "I enjoy the show for the most part, but tell the host he needs to shut the fuck up and let the other two guys get a word in edgewise."
Wait, was that
Apparently
Kevin?
That came from a burner phone.
I think it came from. I think my wife sent it.
That's funny.
Honestly, so. Jack, where can everybody find you at?
You can just find me on YouTube at Cthulhu Jack Presents, and I'm popping up videos every week. And it's always fun to pick a new one and see what happens with people commenting.
Yeah, my favorite new addition to your YouTube is the tentacle review.
Thank you. You know, it's funny. I did that as a bit of a farce, and then yourself and a few others had mentioned that they actually enjoyed that. So I was like, all right, why not? I'll just keep doing it. So it's kind of fun, actually.
So, like the last film he reviewed got 7.5 tentacles out of 10.
Of course, I have to have the overlay of tentacles grabbing at whatever's on.
Yeah, I see the little group tentacles coming down over the screen. Yeah, it's fun. What are we drinking? What are we drinking tonight, guys? So, Kevin, since you actually did a mixed drink tonight, why don't you tell us what you're drinking?
Ooh, I'm going to make it fun. Seeing as how we're talking about 80s movies, my drink is named after an 80s movie.
Okay.
And this one was directed and written by Robert Towne. It came out in 1988. I'm going to see if I can. I'm going to go with the least known actors in it first. See how well you guys do. Arliss Howard and J.T. Walsh were in this movie.
Okay.
In addition to Raul Julia, Kurt Russell, Michelle Pfeiffer, and Mel Gibson.
Tequila Sunrise.
That's what I'm drinking.
That's funny.
I got it as soon as you said Mel Gibson. I was like, I think I know what it is now because I had a feeling but it was just Mel Gibson. Mike, what are you drinking?
I'm just drinking one of my Old Faithfuls, Kona Brewing Company's Longboard Island Lager.
Nice. Jack, are you imbibing in anything this evening?
I'm having a little Kraken rum.
The dark rum
seems appropriate. I am also drinking a themed drink this evening. I'll tell you what's in it, and I'll tell you what it's called, and you tell me if you can figure out the movie I'm paying homage to. It is Bailey's Irish Cream and butterscotch liqueur mixed together, and it's called A Shortage of Perfect Breasts.
Oh, Princess Bride.
Yes, it is from the Princess Bride. Now, technically, this is a shot, so I had to extrapolate it a little bit to try to turn it into an actual, mixed
Just multiply it by 10.
So that's what I did. I multiplied it by 10. So you know what that means.
I'm in danger.
So,
yeah, I think I put too much tequila in this, but that's okay. It's the way I like it.
It's a tequila sunrise. All right. So moving on.
This week in film history with Mike. This week in film history with Mike.
1922, Tarzan the Ape Man release starring Olympic swimmer Johnny Weissmuller in the first of his 12 Tarzan films.
I didn't realize Johnny Weissmuller was an Olympic swimmer. That explains the acting quality in these shorts.
That's why he's always diving in the water and everything.
Yeah. Jack, as somebody who knows like the older films pretty well, I've seen from like some of the things on your channel. You have any comments about the Weissmuller Tarzan and Ape Man movies?
Yeah, I actually did a run of watching some of his stuff probably within the last year or two, and he does get better as they go along. And I actually, watching some of the other Tarzan movies, he definitely has much more of a personality, and I don't know, he's got that kind of look where it's like, okay, he works, So he seems to be the quintessential Tarzan too for the time. But it's just kind of funny because I'm working on a project right now that takes place in 1932, and seeing this made me chuckle.
All right, so the big question then is Johnny Weissmuller or Christopher Lambert?
Boy,
You don't have to answer that question.
It's a tough one.
It's Weissmuller all the way.
It's definitely Weissmuller all the way. I mean, I like Greystoke, but yeah. Did you see the new Tarzan movie, the recent one that came out about 10 years ago now, maybe?
The one with
Skarsgård, yeah.
I have not
Margot
seen
Robbie.
it.
Yeah, they
haven't seen
changed
it.
a lot
It's got Margot Robbie in it, and you haven't seen it.
No, I haven't seen it.
Margot Robbie.
Yeah, it's they changed some of the character dynamics around. So a lot of the stuff that Tarzan is supposed to do is given to other characters, which is a bit if you know if you've read some of the books or comics or any of that stuff, you're going to be a little thrown off. It's pretty bland, unfortunately, even though they have all these effects. And they kind of just retell the same story, which I feel is a problem with most movies now, where they just continually tell an origin story.
Yeah.
Just tell another story.
Anybody who's seen the Disney version of Tarzan knows the origin story.
I was going to ask, the recent one have Rosie O'Donnell playing, drums, and Phil Collins letting. Phil Collins writing. Is there Phil Collins writing a song that steals the Oscar from South Park? That's right.
God, I wish. No, it's pretty forgettable.
It is, from what I saw.
Mike, what's the next one you got there?
1939, The Hound of the Baskervilles, first of 14 films starring Basil Rathbone as Sherlock Holmes and Nigel Bruce as Dr. Watson, is released.
You get a lot of these from these like 30s and 40s like serial films, man. That like these actors did.
Oh yeah, no, for sure.
Superfluous amount of films.
Now,
they were probably under contract.
I got a good little story for you for this one. I don't know if you guys ever had this happen to you, depending on how old you might be. I think it was about 7th or 8th grade. This is back in the 80s. This is how cool it was. We had rain days. We couldn't go out in the playground. So it was middle school. And so what they do is in the gym, they would set up a projector and they would show old movies. So I remember seeing this 1939 Hound of the Baskervilles, 7th or 8th grade, in a projected room with, in the gymnasium with everybody else in the school during recess. It was pretty badass.
Oh, they showed you awesome movies. I got sat down in the auditorium and we watched Shirley Jackson's The Lottery, and it's like, I'm in 3rd grade. I don't need to see people spooning each other. But it was
you guys all had it better than me. I went to Catholic school growing up. We used to just watch like movies about saints when we had a rain day.
Yeah, it was that
Ten Commandments.
The only times I've seen Padre Pio.
The other one we watched was Murder by Death with Alec Guinness and Peter Sellers. That old.
Oh wow.
Yeah. So,
I wanted to go to school.
Sorry, we had recess.
Yeah, what? Recess what?
We had recess in the gym. There was no movies in the gym.
Pull out the big old parachute.
They just played dodgeball. What's the next one you got there, Mike?
1968, 2001: A Space Odyssey, directed by Stanley Kubrick and starring Keira Dahlia and Gary Lockwood, premieres at the Uptown Theater in Washington, D.C.
This was of course Stanley Kubrick's practice for faking the moon landing.
Mm-hmm. Right.
Oy vey.
Yeah. What's the next one you got there, sir?
1968, also science fiction film Planet of the Apes, starring Charlton Heston and Roddy McDowall, opens nationally in the United States.
Of course, this is inferior to the Tim Burton version, right?
Hush your damn mouth.
Mocky Mock is fighting some apes.
What are you doing, ape? Why are you coming after me? How's your mother?
How's your mother?
This is, of course, yes, the far superior version of the film is the Charlton Heston one.
Oh yeah, of course.
What is the next one there, sir?
1983, Monty Python's The Meaning of Life is released in the U.S.
We covered the Monty Python's The Meaning of Life, as well as many other Monty Python things, on episode 138, where we did the career of Monty Python. So if you'd like to know side of life, I know. So we talked about all the movies, we talked about the TV show, our favorite skits from the show. It was a fun episode. So if you'd like to know more about that, check out episode 138. Next one, Mike.
1999, 10 Things I Hate About You, a modernization of Shakespeare's The Taming of the Shrew starring Julia Stiles and Heath Ledger is released.
We talked about this a little bit in episode 135, which was a high school movie episode.
Do you ever think about how awkward it would have been to be a student in that classroom while she's reading that poem? I mean, just sitting there and be like, oh my God, what the fuck?
All I know is if I was in a classroom with Julia Stiles and Heath Ledger, I'd still be staring at Heath Ledger the whole time. He was dreamy.
Why so serious?
That scene where he sings the Frankie Valli song, man. This is my I've seen this movie a lot because this is one of my wife's favorite movies, so this is like a go-to for us. So and I love Shakespeare, so I like all the adaptations too. And last one you got there, Mike.
This one's for you, Lee.
Yep.
2010, Matt Smith's first appearance as the 11th Doctor with Karen Gillan as his companion in the BBC program Doctor Who for the 11th hour episode.
Yeah, Matt Smith, one of the better Doctors. Yep. I enjoyed his run.
Mm-hmm.
And we did talk about the companions last week a little bit, which is funny because
it was
I asked you who your favorite companion was of the Doctors.
Last week, the 9th Doctor premiered.
Yeah, we talked about Eccleston last week, and so yeah.
Mm-hmm.
He premiered.
All right, yeah. So that was some good facts for tonight. I have a little recurring segment this evening, so let me get to it.
Movie updates with Leo. Movie updates with Leo. Movie updates with Leo. Movie updates Leo.
So, unfortunately, screen legend Val Kilmer passed away this week due to complications from pneumonia. He had been suffering from, or trying to battle throat cancer for the last few years, which eventually took away his voice. It's strange. His last on-screen appearance was in Top Gun Maverick. He has a cameo at the end, and all of his lines in the film were compiled using old recordings of his voice that were then cut together to create the dialogue that he has in that scene with Tom Cruise.
I thought his son dubbed the voice.
I think it was like a combination of things because it was AI produced, but it was taking clips from all these different things that he had done to create the dialogue in that scene because he had lost his voice by that point.
Gotcha.
Yeah, he was 65 years old.
Favorite Val Kilmer role?
So we were talking about this in pre-show while you were making your tequila.
I must have been late. Ooh, excuse me. Sorry I missed the party.
But I had said I have a special place in my heart, even though it's a terrible film, for The Island of Dr. Moreau. We mentioned The Doors is probably his best performance. He was great in True Romance.
I loved him in Tombstone.
Tombstone, he's excellent. He is Doc Holliday for me.
Real Genius.
Real Genius is a great one. What was the other one? Top Secret.
Top Secret.
That was his first.
Yeah, it was his first film, and then Kiss Kiss Bang Bang is a good one. There's so many you can name. There's so many. What'd you say? Heat. Oh, Heat's amazing. Heat is amazing. They show that scene of him reloading the gun to people in boot camp. It's this is how you're supposed to load a gun, and they showed a scene of Val Kilmer doing it because he does it so effortlessly in that scene. That is an amazing film. Michael Mann is talking about doing a Heat 2.
I heard that. Today or yesterday.
Yeah, I don't know where they would go with it.
No,
but go ahead, Jack.
No, I was just going to say it'd be kind of interesting since nobody's really around and everybody else is 100 years old. But
I was going to say De Niro's character was killed in the film.
Oh, you know what they'll do? They'll bring back Natalie Portman. She'll be
She'll be the perfect.
Natalie Portman was she was Al Pacino's stepdaughter in the film.
Yeah, exactly.
So yeah, I mean, and Pacino is too busy popping out babies at 90 years old.
You guys thought I was old.
There's a Val Kilmer movie called Twix that I watched that Coppola did. I was going to do a review of it, and then I was like, I don't even know if I can review this. It's a very strange film. It's on one of the streaming services. I can't remember where I caught it on, but it's not much more than an hour. It's black and white, but it's one of his last performances. It's a very strange film.
Have you seen his documentary that he made?
Val, no, I have not.
It's pretty good. Yeah, and it's a lot of like personal footage and things like that. It's kind of cool. Go ahead.
Yeah, go ahead. No,
go ahead, Jack.
No, I was just going to say, I forget. Yeah, it's basically about a writer who befriends Edgar Allan Poe.
Oh, I might have to watch that.
It's very spiritual. Very, he's got writer's block and he's kind of in search of himself. And it's a very interesting movie. I didn't see Megalopolis, but it seems a lot like that, where it just kind of falls apart. But it was kind of neat. Nice seeing Val Kilmer in something, because I think it was one of the last things he did.
Jack, my friend, you did not miss much with Megalopolis.
That's what I hear.
In happier news, maybe Marvel announces the cast for Avengers Doomsday. The trailer has Robert Downey Jr. sitting on one of those, set chairs, and all the other set chairs lined up next to him, and they all have the names of all the actors in the film. And I'm worried that it's just nostalgia bait. Like, here are some of the names and they're coming back together again, because I feel like they don't really have the plan that they had with that first phase of Marvel.
True, but they're using the Russo brothers again. They do
again nostalgia bait. Like,
no, but they do decent movies.
Yeah, unless you count The Gray Man on Netflix.
Nobody counts The Gray Man on Netflix.
A movie I only watched because Ana de Armas was in it, and even that didn't save it. So yeah, I don't know. I don't know if they have a plan in this phase as much as they had with that earlier phases, but we'll see. And I just added this one today. August 1st is the premiere of the Naked Gun reboot. It's actually like a spiritual sequel and less a reboot, because it stars Liam Neeson as Frank Drebin Jr., son of the late Leslie Nielsen's character. It is a 1-minute teaser trailer, and I was laughing through the whole trailer. It looks so funny.
Play it?
I didn't want to play it because I don't want to get the copyright.
All right.
I want to try to monetize the episode. And every time I put a trailer on, they take it away from me. But if you, I put the link on there, you guys can check it out on your own later. It's like a minute-long trailer, but it's one I definitely think I kind of want to see.
It's really Enrico Palazzo Jr.
Dude, it looks crazy. It looks so funny. Mike, any must-try beer craft destination for us this evening?
Yes, I have a destination for you in Maryland. It's Heavy Seas Beer. Hugh Seison's father persuaded him to come help with the newly opened family business, a tavern called Seison's. In 1980, Hugh thought it would be a part-time position, but upon his arrival, his dad tossed him the keys and left. Hugh's brewery became a Heavy Seas Beer in 1995 and now brews 20 different styles of beer. It has become one of the largest and most respected craft breweries on the East Coast, and Seison's is still experimenting with rare special releases, cast conditioned ales, and barrel-aged delicacies. That would be, again, Heavy Seas Beer in Maryland.
And our last segment before the main part of our show.
Kevin's here, he's here for beer. He's got news, it's beer reviews with Kevin.
Gentlemen, desperate times call for desperate measures. The prices of things have gone up drastically, which causes people to take drastic actions. Out of California, I believe it's, let me just double check. This is, yes, Riverside County, California. Thieves were caught stealing nearly 30 cases of beer from a train. In my head, as I'm reading this article, I'm picturing men with neckerchiefs pulled up around their noses and cowboy hats, and they're riding along the side of the train just trying to get on so that they can capture the 30 cases of beer that are hidden in the vault in the caboose. But more seriously, 2 thieves were arrested after they were caught trying to steal nearly 30 cases of beer from a train in Riverside County, according to deputies. They didn't say exactly when the arrests were made, but Jurupa Valley Sheriff's Station deputies stopped the thieves in the act of what deputies called a grand theft cerveza, according to the Facebook post shared by the Riverside County Sheriff's Department. Some thirsty thieves thought that they could pull off the ultimate beer run by stealing Model straight from the railroad shipment, the post said. But
would have been smart to have 30 thieves, and they would have each had a case.
30 thieves for 30 cases.
Oh, you win.
But their especial plan fizzled out fast when the deputies caught them in the act. Now, instead of enjoying a cold one, they're looking at some hard time instead. Instead, personnel from the Eastvale SET team, K9 team, and the Cal Fire Arson Investigation team were able to chase down the suspects as they tried to run from the railroad tracks. Deputies did not provide information on the suspects' identities or possible charges they may face. There are some photos on the CBSNews.com website which show the suspects being detained in custody along the train tracks, as well as the spilled cases of Modelo Special beer underneath the rail car. And that's really what makes us sad, isn't it?
Yeah.
Not the thieves getting caught, but the spilled beer. Moving ourselves a little bit more eastward, we're going to Minneapolis, where feather bowling and bocce and curling are mixed with beer. Imported from Belgium, feather bowling is a rarity in Minnesota and a popular pastime at Prize Brewing Company. Now, come on, you stupid thing. Would you just let me read the article?
No.
You value my privacy, but you just want to sell my information. Yeah. All right. Well, I'll tell you what, gentlemen, that headline kind of says it all, because that headline is all I can say about it, because I can't see the rest of the article without subscribing.
Fun side fact, since I grew up in an Italian neighborhood, I was on the bocce team.
Where are you? My father's on the bocce team right now. They even have banquets and stuff.
All right.
Personally, I think curling would be better for me. You know, sweeping and tossing things along the ice where it's nice and cool. All right, gentlemen. Great Lakes Beer Festival to hold a chili cook-off.
Yes.
At Venue 63. We can still book this, gentlemen. It's not until late April. Looking for an excuse to spend an afternoon drinking craft beer and eating chili? Check out the Great Lakes Beer Festival Chili Cook-Off, taking place from 12 to 4 on Saturday, April 26th at Venue 63. The event will feature chili and craft beer sampling, with chili prepared by local businesses, including Midland Brewing Company, Cleveland Manor, and more. Craft beer from more than 20 Michigan breweries will be available for sampling. Throughout the afternoon, a DJ will be providing musical entertainment. We are thrilled to welcome participants and guests to this year's Great Lakes Beer Festival Chili Cook-Off, said event coordinator Ed Fritz. This event is a celebration of creativity, community spirit, and regional flavor. We look forward to offering attendees a memorable experience filled with outstanding chili, exceptional craft beers, and an overall fun experience. In addition to sampling,
adding it to the growing road trip.
Road trip.
Hold on, guys. I love you both dearly, but I don't want to spend the night in a room by myself after eating beer and chili.
Let alone with us.
The 3 of us in one room after eating beer and chili all night. Okay.
So we get a call from the front desk at 3:00 in the morning because there was a noise complaint.
Sleep in the lobby, Michael. Sleep in the lobby.
What was that, Cthulhu?
I said nobody light a match.
Well, how are we going to get the Yankee Candle to disperse the scent? You know. In addition to sampling, individuals will be able to enter their own chili recipes for a chance to win a cash prize. Participants will be allowed to vote on their favorites. First place will be awarded $250, followed by $150, and then the third place prize of $100. Tickets include 6 chili samples and 6 craft beer samples, and are on sale now with a special advance rate of 2 for $32. That's not a bad deal. Tickets will also be available at the door for $20 per person. If you're interested, feel free to go to GreatLakesBeerFestival.com/chili cook-off.
Sounds fun.
Gentlemen, fun fact I learned from working at Longhorn. What is one ingredient we have in chili here in the United States, or, well, at most places, that shouldn't be in chili?
The beans.
The beans. Okay, I didn't. Okay, I thought I was special with that knowledge. Apparently, I'm just late to the game. And I'm
all right. All right, everybody. We're moving on to the main segment for this evening, which is our favorite 80s cult films. And before we get into this, here's a couple of questions I came up with for this. Was what makes a movie a cult classic versus just a popular 80s film? Is it the box office? Is it quotability? Is it the late night screenings, weirdness, or some like combination of those things? So, Jack, I'm going to pose this to you first. As somebody whose movie knowledge I've already admitted is greater than my own at this point, and I'm pretty good with the movie trivia. What would you say is a cult film?
What would I say is a cult? Well, I agree with all that. Let me say. All right, I got one for you. How about like a cult film would be The Toxic Avenger? Since they're doing a remake of that would I consider that a cult film. I think that. What's that?
I said most definitely.
Yeah, I'd say that's definitely a cult film. Independent film, and then it kind of kept growing, and obviously now has a franchise on its own. And they're, all these years later, making a remake of it for some strange reason.
With Peter Dinklage.
With Peter Dinklage
as the Toxic Avenger. Yeah.
I think merchandising.
Yeah.
Yeah, exactly.
Remember the Toxic Avenger toys? We all have.
There was a Toxic Avenger Saturday morning cartoon.
Yeah, I remember the cartoon was awesome.
That was what's great about the 80s is there was a like Saturday morning cartoon for so many R-rated films.
Rambo.
There's Rambo, RoboCop.
Well, and you forget too, because Toxic Avenger came out in '84, so that's like the height of like all that stuff, like He-Man, all that stuff was coming out was purely just made to merchandise. So the fact that Lloyd Kaufman, who was the producer of it, decided to go, hey, why not just make this? I mean, you guys have seen Toxic Avenger, I assume, or no?
Yes.
Yeah. I mean,
yep.
I just watched it again recently, which I hadn't seen in probably about 25 years, and I forgot how violent that movie was. I was like, "Oh, that's right."
It's batshit crazy, that film.
That's so crazy.
It's a mix of Sloth. Hold on. Yeah, Sloth from Goonies and Swamp Thing.
Yeah, talk about a cult film, Swamp Thing.
Swamp Thing.
Yeah.
The original one, from
Adrian Barbeau.
I was like 82, 83. Adrian Barbeau. Yeah. I was young when that movie came out, man, but watching Adrian Barbeau would make anybody grow a fist. Toxic Avenger was 1984, hour and 22 minutes. Man, I miss hour and 22 minute long movies.
I know. Well, that's why I like sticking to old stuff.
Yeah. Isn't that's Trauma Films? Toxic Avenger?
I'm sorry, which one? Yeah, it is Trauma
Films, right? Yeah, because I think
the guy Lloyd Kaufman did it. He was the producer, and they produced that out of New Jersey. So because the whole movie takes place in New Jersey.
Yeah, I think I got an autograph from Lloyd Kaufman somewhere around here.
That's a guy that's he's probably one of the most enthusiastic filmmakers and producers I've ever seen.
I have a friend who used to produce like straight to DVD horror films and stuff, and he met Lloyd Kaufman at like a horror con somewhere, and Yeah, brought me back an autograph from it.
That's awesome. That's awesome.
But yeah, I think also like I think that the word cult comes from culture, and I think it's like your film. Aside from all these things that we've just mentioned, like a cult film is also one that affects the culture in some way, so that it becomes sort of like it's just a movie that you remember for the way that it has affected, a way other films are made or the way you remember certain time periods or whatever. I feel like it's all of that.
The way The Crow created goth kids.
Well, they were around before that, but that amplified it for sure.
I think that Adam.
Of course, you're talking about the Bill Skarsgård Crow, right?
Ooh. Sacrilege.
Unnecessary. Talk about an unnecessary remake. Jeez. All right, so Jack, usually how we do this is when we do our list like this is we kind of round robin it a little bit. So I'll talk about my first one, Mike will talk about his, Kev will talk about his. So what I figured is, we'll do all our first, and then when we get to you, we'll start the game portion of this, which is you throw one out at us that we'll try to guess.
Gotcha.
And we'll just keep kind of going around like that. So for Kevin, Mike, this should be no surprise that the first one on my list is a John Carpenter film.
I wanted to my list, but I knew I wasn't going to get it.
You were going to get it. You weren't going to get any John Carpenter film from me. So Big Trouble in Little China, 1986, Kurt Russell. Oh my God, I get Kim Cattrall. Every legendary Asian actor who was ever in a movie in the 80s.
Al Young. Yep.
Al Young and
Gerald Nakamura.
And James Hong. I love anything John Carpenter, and I have on here that we talked about it back in episode 50, all the way back in episode 50. We did a Mount Rushmore episode, and on my Mount Rushmore of directors was John Carpenter. I love everything John Carpenter, even his bad movies. I like I actually have a place in my heart for Ghost of Mars and Escape from LA.
A small part.
Not his remake, not the remake of The Fog. That was terrible. His version of The Fog, that was amazing. Big Trouble in Little China, Prince of Darkness, Mouth of Madness, everything. I love all things John Carpenter. So should be no surprise that Big Trouble in Little China is on my list. A movie that was a box office bomb, but has the man that I consider John Carpenter's muse in the film, Kurt Russell, because I think they did 4 films together. And it's just so much fun. And I keep hearing all this talk about The Rock wanting to remake it.
Oof.
And I say oof because I would say oof too, because The Rock can't get beat up in his films. It's like he just doesn't want that to happen. Yeah, it's like in his contract that he can't lose a fight.
I'd rather have redo it.
Yeah, like that's not the Jack Burton character. Jack Burton wasn't even the hero of the movie. He was the audience surrogate who just had no clue what the hell was happening.
Right.
And it was just falling into the adventure. And I remember making my wife watch it, and she was like, "What the hell did I just watch?"
Well, I mean, one of the best sequences is when he fires up into the air at the end for the big fight scene, and then everybody's been dead or kicked ass, and they're gone, and he wakes up and it's all done. I mean, he's the hero. It's like it's the funniest thing.
He hits, The Rock. He shoots in the air. The brick falls down, hits him in the head, knocks him out, or he kills a guy when the guy accidentally falls on his knife. Like,
right. It's. I mean, I would love to see him and Ash from Evil Dead do a movie together. That would.
Oh man! Oh, if somebody had thought of that back in the day.
I mean, yeah.
God damn! Yeah, because Evil Dead and Evil Dead 2 should be on this list too. So Big Trouble in Little China is my first one, definitely. Mike, why don't you talk about your first one?
Oh, The Lost Boys. Come on. What's not to say? Vampire flick.
A little more than that, Mike.
Yeah. I know.
I mean, we could talk about how on episode 106 we did a recasting of The Lost Boys.
We did. I mean,
what I like about our recasting episodes, Jack, is that we would never want these movies to be remade.
Oh no.
But it's a fun thought experiment to think about who we would want in these movies if they were remade. So
Lord.
I don't remember.
Oh.
I don't remember who I did for the Lost Boys because that was so long ago. But
well, to be honest, I would like to see Corey Feldman come back as Corey Feldman now, the way he is to play that character.
It doesn't look much different. So
no.
What did I hear recently? Corey Feldman. I'm sorry to interrupt you, Jack.
No, go ahead.
No,
I heard recently that Corey Feldman had talked in an interview about being up for the part of Arnie in What's Eating Gilbert Grape. And Johnny Depp kind of sandbagged his audition, saying, I don't get a good vibe from him. I don't like him. And that's when they went with Leonardo DiCaprio.
Wow.
That could have been the turning point.
I mean, that happens all the time. It's you got to make the chemistry work.
Yeah.
I found it. I found our Lost Boys recast.
Okay, go for it.
For the Michael character, Jason Patrick in the film, both Mike and I chose Timothy Chalamet. And Kevin chose Joe Keery from Stranger Things. The Corey Haim character, Kev chose Julian Dennison from Deadpool 2. And I chose, and Mike and I had a lot of the same ones in this. I had Roman Griffin Davis, who was in Jojo Rabbit, as the Sam character, the younger brother. I'm not going to go through all of them, but we had some interesting ones on here.
Who was the Kiefer Sutherland character?
So the Kiefer Sutherland one, David was Kevin chose Chalamet for that one. Mike chose
right.
Yeah, Mike chose Austin Butler, who I think is a really good choice. And I chose John Boyega because I was going for a little different take on it. Yeah.
That's funny.
But yeah, that's a good one, man. And Lost Boys now, that actually did well at the box office.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
But it was a cultural, I look at it from the cultural impact point. Yeah.
Yeah, I think it got bigger as it after the theaters. I think
they're still making fun. They're still making fun of the saxophone playing guy nowadays.
I think. I think a lot of these movies became more cult classics because of HBO and how they just reran the same movies all the time.
Yeah, and also the popularity they had at video stores and things like that. Yeah, Lost Boys is a great one. Kev, I'll let you take your first one here because this was one I didn't think of.
This is this movie comes on, I watch it because it's just hypnotizing, and the quote in my head that keeps going on is, "It's just that you look so pretty today." This is Just One of the Guys from 1985. This is about a girl who is looking to get a summer job as a reporter, and they brush her off as she's a woman, she can't write anything. She decides to take a big step and enter into high school again, because she's in college by this point, but enter into high school again, posing as a boy, posing as a guy, and going through and writing her story about this. And through the process, she gets picked on by guys because of, she's not quite a guy. And she befriends a guy and she ends up falling in love with him. It's a fun movie. And probably my first exposure to just a woman, girl just going, wham, and opening up her tuxedo to show off, proving that she's a girl to this guy that she's, infatuated with. Nobody of any consequence stars in this that we know of, aside from Carolyn Finn. Joyce Kaiser.
Billy Zapp is in it.
Who?
Billy Zapp.
Oh, wow.
Johnny.
Okay.
Yeah,
so Johnny.
I was waiting for the boobage comment because I the thing that I remember most vividly.
That's what we remember, because it came out in 1985 and we were, 7 and 8 years old.
My first exposure was Phoebe Cates and Ridgemont High, but
yeah, there you go.
This is a close second.
I'm just a little older than that. I was 11.
In 1985, I would have been
8.
Yeah, 8 years old. Yeah.
I would have been 11.
Fast Time should have made this list. Sorry. But
Just one of the guys. Anyway, let's get to Jack's first.
Really quick.
Go.
I'm sorry. Fun fact: there was a sequel made, or at least a spin-off made called "Just One of the Girls,"
Clever.
Which had Corey Haim and Nicole Eggert.
Wow.
Yeah.
Does he like whip his mule out at the end of the movie to like prove everybody he's a guy?
Well, he definitely puts on a wig and becomes a cheerleader. But
they should. That's kind of like how White Chicks is the sequel to Soul Man.
Nobody picked Soul Man tonight.
Yeah, we talked about that in our James Earl Jones episode.
Oh boy.
I'm sorry, I didn't mean to interrupt you. Go ahead.
Yeah, we'll go to
I didn't
first
say
one here.
No, I'm good. Yeah, so do you want me to give you a couple of actors, or how do you want me to break this down for you?
So
you can guess.
However you want to do
Start
it.
with the actors. Start with the actors.
All right. I'll give you the year. How about that?
Okay.
That'll help.
That's good.
1986.
Okay.
1986. And we've got where did they go? Make sure I get everybody correctly here. All right. So Jeffrey D. Munn. Do you remember Jeffrey D. Munn, Walking Dead?
Mm-hmm.
He's in Walking Dead. He's in this movie. He plays a sheriff. Then we got Jennifer Jason Leigh, who's the female lead. No. C. Thomas Howell. Anyone?
No, not there yet.
Not there yet.
And the star of the movie is Rutger Hauer.
Rutger Hauer. Oh.
Jennifer Jason Leigh.
Jeffrey DeMunn,
Jennifer Jason Leigh. Oh,
God.
And I'll say that C. Thomas Howell admitted that he was actually afraid of Rutger Hauer on and off the set because of Hauer's general intensity.
All right, trying to think of my Rutger Hauer 80s films. I mean, the obvious
Blade Runner.
is Blade Runner, but it's definitely not that
That's
one.
not Blade Runner.
Not Blade Runner. It's not Lady Hawk. It's not Split Second.
It's not Buffy the Vampire Slayer.
It's not Blind Fury.
Not Blind Fury.
Blind Fury.
I love Blind Fury. I should put that on my
So
list.
good. Deadlock.
Damn.
You guys
I
are
think we may need a synopsis. Can you give us a brief synopsis of it?
Yeah. I'll give you a brief synopsis. Let's see. A young driver picks up a psychotic hitchhiker.
A hitcher.
There you go.
Once you give the plot away, that's like an easy one. The Hitcher. Wow.
That's a great one. It's probably one of my all-time favorite 80s movies. I just the music is fantastic. I've got 3 different versions of that on Blu-ray. I have another version I just got that's like a foreign version that's got everything. It's got a book. That movie is so well done and just beautifully shot by John Seal, I think it is, who did Mad Max Fury Road. I don't know. I mean, that's one of those movies I saw as a kid and scared the living crap out of me about picking up hitchhikers. And his Rutger Hauer's performance in that is just phenomenal, you know. And everybody's performance is phenomenal.
One of the best headshots in the history of film.
Yes.
Did you see the remake with Sean Bean?
No, and I love Sean Bean, but I couldn't do it.
There's worse remakes of films. It's not the worst remake, but it's not, again, it's not Rutger Hauer.
Let me guess, Sean Bean died in it.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Get shot in the head. You can find out more about that on our Sean Bean episode where we did a bracket on the best Sean Bean death scenes.
The field.
That was like episode 13. It was a long time ago. All right. My second one on my list is my drink inspiration for tonight. We talked about this in episode 139.
As you wish.
Yes, As You Wish was on our romantic quotes bracket in episode 139. Not much else I can say about The Princess Bride. I love this movie. It's a comfort film. It's one that I've seen a million times. It's
Anybody
one that
want
I can. Anybody want the peanut? I go watch this in my head. I know it so well. Like I don't have to put it on TV. Yeah, my drink is from the scene where she's about to stab herself with the dagger, and Wesley's laying on the bed, and he's like, "You know, there are a shortage of perfect breasts in this world. It'd be a pity to ruin yours." And so, just so many. Yeah, it's just such a quotable. It's a film that did poorly at the box office. Like, made very little money. But has become, thanks like you said, Mike, to like Showtime and HBO and runs in VHS and all that stuff, became a monster hit and a movie that people remember fondly, even though they didn't want to go to see it in the theater. Just an endlessly quotable film. Inconceivable.
Inconceivable. I don't think that means what you think it means.
Yes, in fact.
You keep using the word. I don't think it means what you think it means.
One of the things I love is like how, like, honestly, when this movie came out, I don't think it had, and this is why it's a cult classic, it didn't have as much popularity, but everybody has seen it and everybody has loved it to the point where you have, what was it, during the pandemic, maybe shortly thereafter, you had actors and actresses at home filming their own scenes from it, and they compiled it into like most of the movie. And that just like tickled me. That just warmed my heart to see Pedro Pascal and various other actors and actresses doing various scenes. It was just funny.
And Carrie Elway's going on tour with a one-man show where he talks about The Princess Bride.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, my wife and I still every now and then will yell at each other. You're a witch. I'm not a witch. I'm your wife. Every time we go to a wedding, we can't help but laugh when we think about marriage.
Marriage.
My favorite line, my two favorite lines in the film, though, are like ones that usually people don't pick out for favorite lines. One is where they tell them not to, to wait 15 minutes for full potency after they give them the pill, and they mistake that for wait 15 minutes, then give him the pill. And he's like, give him the pill. Has it been 15 minutes yet? We can't wait any longer. And the other one is where the guy closes the gates on him, and he's like, give us the gate key. I have no gate key. Fezzik, tear his arms off. Oh, you mean this gate key?
So I heard in an interview, Carrie was supposed to just lay there and like hold his breath, not look as if he's breathing. And they were going to get through the lines, but Rob Reiner goes up to Billy Crystal and says to him, he goes, just go with it. Just do what you want. Essentially telling him just improv. Mm-hmm. And, Billy Crystal, he ran with it, and they could not finish the scene. They couldn't finish the shot. They had to tell people to leave the set because they couldn't control their laughter. Mm-hmm. So it's like, clear the set until we can get this shot done,
Except for a nice MLT, mutton, lettuce, and tomato, where the mutton is cut nice and lean.
To blave.
Yeah. Oh, man. All right. I could do a whole show on Princess Bride, so we'll move on. Mike, what's the second one on your list, sir?
Little Shop of Horrors.
This is a good one.
Oh, oh my God. I love this movie. I don't know why. I just do.
Little Shop of Horrors.
Kind of. I mean, I love the ending, but I kind of wish I could have seen it with the alternative ending.
Yeah. Is it the alternative ending where
Audrey's kind of taken over?
Audrey 2 takes over the world.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
Well, you got to give the audience those happy endings.
So the whole Steve Martin thing freaked me out.
Oh, the dentist thing.
The dentist thing, and then chopping him up into pieces to feed him to Audrey. I mean, as a young kid watching it, is like, what?
In my ever never ending attempts to try to figure out Cthulhu Jack's real identity. As somebody who's worked with Roger Corman in the past, you haven't worked on Little Shop of Horrors, have you?
No, I have not. but I did have a pretty close encounter with Steve Martin once, which was kind of amazing. So we'll just leave it at that.
Okay.
Well, a lot of the music from Little Shop of Horrors was also who was the director of the songwriter?
Frank Oz.
Frank Oz directed the film.
Directed his film, yeah, but I'm talking about the music. He did a lot of music for the 90s, for a lot of stuff for Disney.
Tim Rice?
No, I gotta look it up now.
Always prepared.
Oh, well, yeah, I saw.
We're always prepared.
No, I saw.
Let me see here what we got. I'm looking for music by Miles Goodman.
No.
Yeah, I don't know who you're talking about, Mike.
Let's move on. I'll find it.
Let's move on. Yeah. Suddenly Seymour. Music to put Robert Ash, Howard Ashman.
Ashman.
Howard Ashman was the song lyrics. Yeah. Little Shop of Horrors. Kev.
Yes.
What's your second one?
My second one is one that touches close to my heart. This is Summer School with Mark Harmon from 1987, where a phys ed teacher, I believe, is recruited to teach remedial English. If he wants to make tenure, he kind of treats it as a joke. He, comes in and just puts on movies and, covers his head and just wants to be on the beach. And these kids have to pass summer school to be able to move on, I think. I watch this, I think of so many lines. I think of, what was the one? First and foremost, my favorite character is the one who goes to the bathroom in the beginning of the movie. Does the best on the test, ends up showing up at the end of the movie, and he's like, "Who are you?" He goes, "I'm this guy." He goes, "Where have you been?" He goes, "I was in the bathroom." He's like, "For 8 weeks?" He's like, "My zipper got stuck." And then ends up doing the best on the test. He
got a 90 on that test. I mean, the iconic scene from this is probably the scene where they do the special gore effects to scare the substitute teacher.
Mm-hmm.
That was the best scene. Yeah.
Yeah, it's a great scene.
And introduced us to Courtney Thorne-Smith, who was smoking in 80s.
I said between this movie and Revenge of the Nerds Part 2, I had some early stock in Courtney Thorne-Smith.
This also introduced us to Shawnee Smith, though, who we'll remember from Saw.
That's
and
right.
We'll remember from
The Blob.
that Candy movie, not Delirious. John Candy movie. Shawnee Smith. He's a private investigator.
Who's Harry Crumb?
Yes.
Yeah. It's
the alley. We got Dean Cameron.
Chainsaw.
Chainsaw.
I love Summer School too. It's not a great movie, but
it's an okay movie.
It's an okay movie, but it's a fun movie. It's a fun watch. Yeah. It's got a lot of vagina in it. And by that I mean the actors who played her in Austin Powers. We talked about it a little bit in episode 72 because we did an episode on summer films, and this was one of them. Yeah, it's a good one. See, I tried to there were so many I wanted to put on my list that I tried to lay off of because I knew you guys would cover some of them. So I tried not to steal too many from you. So.
Real quick, Howard Ashman went from the lyrics and everything for Little Shop of Horrors to do song lyrics for The Little Mermaid, Beauty and the Beast, Aladdin, You pretty much all the music you know from Disney in the 80s.
That's what you're saying is the guy was just a hack.
Yeah.
All right. So, yeah. So, Jack, let's try to guess your second one that you have for us.
All right. This is a real easy one. Okay. 1988. 1988. Stars. Okay. I'll give you one of the, because there's not many people I don't. Oh, Denise Crosby is in it.
Whoa.
Ooh.
Okay. So Tasha Yar is
really early.
Oh, yeah. Really early. Earl Bowen is in it. Do you know who Earl Bowen is?
Not really.
No.
He's the psychiatrist in Terminator and Judgment Day.
Yeah.
Oh,
Okay.
wow. Okay.
Well, I don't know those two in a movie together. Okay. Keep going.
All right. So then the female lead in this is Mare Winningham.
Okay.
And the lead is Anthony Edwards.
Oh, Jesus. Denise Crosby, Anthony Edwards.
1988.
1988.
Trying to think what Anthony Edwards was in the 80s.
He's a dead goose in 1988.
I was going to say, aside from Top Gun and Revenge of the Nerds, I don't remember Anthony Edwards until he did ER in the 90s.
Yeah.
Oh my God. I know Mare Winningham was, didn't she play Costner's wife in Field of Dreams?
Yes.
Yeah. And that would have been around, that's the same year.
That's 89, I think.
88, yeah.
88, maybe it's 88.
But yeah, late 80s either way, yeah. What is who's the director?
The director is
Spielberg.
Steve DeJarnette.
That doesn't help me at all. I thought that might help, but I have no idea who that is. Good Lord.
All right, I think we need a plot. I think we need a synopsis.
All right, here it comes. A tense apocalyptic thriller that starts as a romantic comedy before spiraling into chaos after a man learns of an impending nuclear strike. Its unpredictable plot and dark humor have earned it a loyal niche audience.
Wow. It sounds like
I thought you said it was an easy one, Jack.
I know. I was just kidding.
Yeah, I have no idea what this one is. You got me on this one, man.
No.
All right. Miracle Mile.
Miracle Mile. I was looking it up just now because I was like, I have no idea. Miracle Mile.
Yeah, this movie is fantastic. I highly recommend it. I'll be reviewing it soon. It's one of my all-time favorites to go back to. It's growing up in the 80s, we all remember if you were around back then, cognizant of nuclear war was always present, I guess.
Yeah.
And the day after it come out in 87, I think it was. And this was a year later, and it's a fantastic movie. It's one of those where it starts off as just that. So, two people meet at the La Brea Tar Pits at the beginning of the day, museum, Anthony Edwards and Mary. And she says she's going to be right back. She has to run home for something. And then he gets a phone call in a phone booth by somebody that's at a nuclear site saying, hey, we launched the missiles. You only have this much time. And he thought he was actually calling his daughter. And he ends up calling Anthony Edwards, who picks up the phone and who's happened to walk by this payphone. And then the whole night, he doesn't know if it's real, if it's happening. And then slowly it just kind of evolves. And it's a very fascinating movie. It's great. It's highly recommended.
All right. I had to add that to my list because there's, not often I haven't seen a film. But, Miracle Mile, 1988. I looked up the director, Steve DeJarnette, because I was curious to see what else he did. He also wrote and directed Cherry 2000.
Yeah, that's a good one.
Talking about cult films from the 80s.
Oh, yeah.
So that is Melanie Griffith and David Andrews, and it's like she's like a sex robot or something like that. That's and he also was a writer on Strange Brew, which 1983. Yeah, it's the Mackenzie brothers from SCTV.
Oh yeah,
okay.
Yeah, and they have it follows their story. Yeah, it's
Canadian.
Yeah, it's the Canadian group. Strange Brew is actually an adaptation of Hamlet, if you can believe it. That's a good one though, man. That's Miracle Muhammad. I had to write that down and check that one out later. My third one is, of course, another John Carpenter film. My second favorite John Carpenter film, the one that I've seen probably the most, though. It's They Live. And
Yes.
I mainly saw this when it came out because Roddy Piper was my favorite wrestler.
Yep.
And I saw he was in a movie, and I'm like, oh, I got to check this out. And I watched it. I loved it. This is before I even knew who John Carpenter was. And then, like, once I learned who he was, I went back and watched a lot of his other stuff, and that's where he became, like, one of my favorite directors. But it all started with chewing bubblegum and kicking ass and being all out of bubblegum. That's where it started.
80s movie.
What'd you say, Mike?
It's a quintessential 80s movie.
It is a quintessential 80s movie, Reaganomics film.
Oh, yeah.
Consume.
And the beautiful Meg Foster with her alien-like eyes.
Meg Foster, yeah, man. My first Meg Foster was Masters of the Universe, where she played Lynn. Yeah, and then she was in Blind Fury with Rucker Howard.
Yeah,
playing a blind person.
They Live, man. I love They Live. And my favorite line though is like everybody knows the chew bubblegum kick ass line, but oh god, what's the line? Life's a bitch and she's in heat.
You're okay, huh?
You fucking ugly.
I like the line at the end with the lady, the girl's on top of the alien, and she's like, "What's wrong, man?
What's wrong, baby?" That's a. Oh God, I love John Carpenter so much. I'm gonna move on because I will talk about that. That's another one I'll talk about all night. So I'll move on to Mike's third one, which we talked about in a Films That Time Forgot episode 105. It was a Films That Time Forgot episode. We had our friends from the All Hallows Eve podcast on that episode.
Yep.
And Mike talked about this one, sir.
Highlander. Love this film. Love this film.
The only one.
There could be only one. There should have been only one.
Yes.
Not a fan of Highlander 2, The Quickening?
Or the TV series?
The TV series actually wasn't too bad.
Well, I remember I had seen Highlander around, what was it, high school, I guess. And I was in college when the second one came out. And a bunch of my buddies and we all went up to it. And suddenly it opens them on another planet and everything. We're like, oh, come on, really? The best part of the movie is the fact that you don't have that backstory. I mean, you have the backstory, but you don't have like the entire backstory of like what they are. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, that's
where does the power come from?
Yeah. It's like, who cares? Yeah. It's like the whole idea about somebody just being immortal is pretty awesome. Mm-hmm. You know?
I'll tell you what, I saw Highlander 2 first.
Oh, that's horrible.
I came to Highlander, the original, a little later because
you must have been so confused.
Yeah. I was like, I was just as
so
confused.
Much exposition in the first movie.
I was just as confused in the second one as I was in the first one by the fact that the Spanish guy was played by a Scottish guy, and the Scottish guy was played by a guy from Belgium.
That's funny.
Yeah, he
was Scottish by way of Egypt.
He was Spanish by Egypt. He worked for the Spanish crown, but he was Egyptian originally.
That makes it more plausible. So tell me of your homeland of Scotland.
Oh, man.
Now, of course, Mike, what's the best part of the film?
For you or for me?
For you, what's the best part of the film?
That's my best part of the film.
I thought you were going to say the soundtrack because you always talk about the soundtrack.
Yeah, I love the soundtrack.
Queen, man, you can't go wrong.
That's the best soundtrack of any movie ever.
Great soundtrack.
I thought you were going to talk about, Michael P.S.A.'s at the beginning.
I was going to talk about Clancy Brown as Kurgan.
Awesome
Awesome villain.
Well, you know what's funny is that, growing up watching it on a VHS, because when he shaves his head, you kind of can't, everything, watch a VHS back then, everything kind of bleeds into one another, size-wise, depending on what TV you had back then. So I got to see a midnight show of it at a theater in Hollywood once, and I was like, oh, he's got tattoos on the back of his head. I always wondered what the heck that was.
There was no Criterion Blu-ray or anything back then.
On
You
86.
hit the pause button on a VHS. It kind of just wiggled around for a bit.
Yeah, exactly.
It was like watching scrambled porn. Kev, what's your third one, sir?
I'll let it out with this. $2. You owe me $2. Mine
Such a
is
great
Better
film.
Off Dead, starring John Cusack, David Ogden Stiers, Kim Darby, Demian Slade, Diane Franklin. Not a bunch of, we all know Curtis Armstrong, right? Everybody knows Booker.
I know. Yeah, I know his Booker. I know Vincent Chiavelli as the creepy guy on the train from Ghost.
Elizabeth Daly, who really, I think if it was Elizabeth Daly, I think of Pee Wee Herman. This is, look, you talk about John Carpenter and quintessential 80s movies. Same thing can be said for John Cusack's teenage years, between One Crazy Summer, Better Off Dead, come on, holding the
16 Candles.
Thank you. I was looking for that. This is about John Carpenter, not John Carpenter. Sorry, man, I've had too many of these already. John Cusack is a guy. His girlfriend just ditches him for a ski jock. And this sad sack of a high school student he's befriending a foreign exchange student. He the big thing with him is he has to win the ski competition down the road. I think there was a whole South Park episode based off of this movie.
Cool Runnings?
Cool Runnings? No, not Cool Runnings. Yeah, so this is one that stands out to me. Honestly, any John Cusack movie that took place in the 80s.
Any movie he plays the sad sack who's unlucky in love.
Unlucky in love.
Yeah. Girlfriend dumps him. Yeah.
Doesn't he have the little brother who's reading a book called How to Pick Up Trashy Women or something like that?
My favorite, between his brother and the postman showing up all the time, it's like you reading the smut. And the kid builds a rocket in the garage. It's the best. I love the mom's cooking is the best too. Everything's French. We've got French bread, French dressing, French fries.
How they treat the foreign exchange student with little what was the character's name? Little Billy? No, but he was a big kid. Little Ricky. That's it.
Oh yeah,
it was. That was kind of a staple of 80s films too. Is that so socially sensitive foreign exchange student character?
$2.
Better Off Dead. So let's move on to Jack's next one, number 3, and see if we could do better than we did on the last one.
All right, this one is a little easier. I swear. All right, so it's 1987. Clu Gulager's in it. Return of the Living Dead alum. Let's see, Michael Nouri. No, all right,
no.
The lead is Kyle MacLachlan.
Oh wow,
this is a goodie. This is a good one.
87, Kyle MacLachlan.
Science fiction, 1987. Science fiction movie, 1987.
When I think science fiction and Kyle MacLachlan, I think of David Lynch's Dune, but that came out in 1984.
Nope.
Oh my God. That's why I said, man, I knew you were gonna find a way to stump me, sir, because you are good.
All right. So do you want me to go ahead and read the synopsis?
Yeah. Please.
A science fiction action thriller where an alien cop teams up with a human detective to hunt a body.
Mac and me.
What's that?
Mac and me.
No.
Alien Nation.
No, it's not Alien Nation.
Extraterrestrial criminal. It's a fast-paced, quirky, and oozes 80s charm with a cult following for its blend of genres. A swapping extraterrestrial criminal. That's what they're after. So there's two aliens. It's not I come in peace either.
Yeah.
You'll go on pieces.
It's not even.
It's the hidden.
Yeah, I had to look up. I looked. Okay. I found it hidden. Yeah, I had to look up. I don't know. Alien Nation, Mike, was James Caan and Mandy Patinkin.
Yeah, yes, it was.
And that was 88.
Yeah,
I think is when that came out.
So
yeah, so the hidden.
I know of this. I know of this film. I've never seen it.
This is another one that ran on cable 1,000 times over back then. I don't know how many times I've seen this movie, but I own it on DVD, and it's just a fun 80s. It's funny because it says 87. It feels more like Lethal Weapon era 85. You know. Yeah, this is a wild, crazy movie, and seeing this and then going from this to Twin Peaks is pretty funny because you're like, oh, there's a lot of similarities here. But,
I heard Kyle MacLachlan. I was hoping you were throwing me a curveball and it was going to be like Blue Velvet or something, but
no,
once you said sci-fi, I was like, oh, I'm done. I don't have this one. I gotta keep track of all these so I could watch these later. The Hidden. Wow. I know I've heard the name of this film before. But I've never seen it. I have to check this out. These guys make fun of me all the time because of how many movies I watch. And how often I'll say, "Oh, I saw that," and I'll be like, "Oh, of course you did." So when
how Netflix has different categories, Leo has one for obscure random movies. They'll just suggest them to him.
Like the one I watched for last week's show, Jesus Christ, Vampire Hunter.
Exactly.
Oh, nice.
But yeah, when I find a gap in my knowledge, I'm excited by it because it gives me something to watch now. My next one, this is fourth on my list, even though I have 6 on my list and everybody else has 5. I had to put this on there because nobody else took it at this point, and I'm like, it has to be on there because this is definitely a cult movie. This was one that did not do well in the box office, but again, because of cable and VHS and all that stuff, it became a film that many people know and love. It has early on-screen appearance from Jennifer Connelly.
You talking about The Babe?
What about The Babe?
The Babe with
Babe
the power.
Power. Who do? You do. I do. What? The Power of the Babe. It's Labyrinth from 1986, starring Jennifer Connelly, David Bowie, and David Bowie's crotch.
Nothing, tra-la-la.
The Bog of Eternal Stench.
I heard those rumors about a remake for this too.
I think they are working on a remake, right?
Yeah, I read something about that. Yeah, that I think there's a remake. I think it might be in like pre-production or something like that, but it's there. I heard
and supposedly they're taking out all the sauciness of Bowie. So that's going to be no fun.
I mean, they don't want to include the subplot of the obviously very much older Goblin King trying to seduce a 16-year-old girl.
No. I'm sure that will definitely not be it.
What would really, grind my gears is if they didn't involve the Jim Henson's company for like the practical effects at all. If they did that with the remake, it's like that to me was the essence of the movie. Yes, David Bowie and Jennifer Connelly, but like just the characters created by Jim Henson's workshop made it that much better.
Yes,
like Ludo.
Like Ludo.
Like I have right here my Ludo Funko Pop. I love Ludo. There he is.
Hoggle. Yep.
Yeah, like that's the charm of the film is
That made the
those
movie.
practical
I
Jim
mean-
Henson effects. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, I would hate if it was a remake and it just doesn't live up to the original at all. It's
How
such a great
crazy would
film.
it be if they got Jennifer Connelly to play one of the parents that leaves the daughter with the child?
Maybe you
You
can
know?
do a gender swap thing, and she could be the Goblin Queen.
Mm.
There you go. That'd be cool.
Yeah, that
That'd
might
be
be
cool.
might make it a movie I would watch. But
Oh, come on. You'd watch it even if it wasn't that way.
I love Jennifer Connelly. Yeah, I can't. Mike, what's your next one there? This was one I was like, oh wow, I haven't thought about this movie in a while.
The Presidio. Second
That's right.
movie.
That's late 80s. Yeah.
Second movie with Sean Connery and
And Mark Harmon.
Mark Harmon. Detective investigating a murder on a military base, runs into pretty much his XO or his old commanding officer and falls in love with his daughter. Going there.
Played by Meg Ryan.
Played by Meg Ryan, yes it was.
Oh,
This
wow.
was after Goose died.
She ran into the arms of the guy that would one day run the NCIS. Another movie where Sean Connery plays a character who has a mysterious Scottish accent.
He's a U.S. general or
Lieutenant Colonel. I'm a
Well, later he
Lieutenant
moves to
Colonel.
California and investigates an Asian murder in a business venture with Wesley Snipes. You know, so
Rising Sun.
that's right.
It's Rising Sun. That's a great movie. I love listening to Sean Connery speak Japanese.
Then
Domo arigato.
he's got to break back in to
You
jail.
know what? Break
Break
back
back
into
in.
jail.
Back into
that's
jail.
We're talking about The Rock now. Now we're moving into the 90s cult films.
I just thought we were doing a Sean Connery special.
Sean Connery run.
We take a character and we link him to every.
And everybody talks about Kevin Bacon.
Yeah.
Hey, we did our Kevin Bacon episode.
Yeah, we did that. We did a Kevin Bacon 6 Degrees episode. Here's the one, Mike, that I thought you would have had on your list. You did this on one of your Films that Time Forgot episodes, was The Family Business with Connery, Matthew Broderick, and Dustin Hoffman.
Yeah, I don't think that was a cult classic though.
Yeah. It's just
It was forgotten.
there. But that's a good one, Presidio. Kevin's next one is our second Kim Cattrall film on the list.
That's right.
Uh-oh.
Look, so if I said that much of this movie came from the fact that it was just filmed in Philadelphia and in the Wanamaker's building, there's no shame in that. I really don't care. I thought it was a decent premise of a movie. Obviously, I'm talking about Mannequin, which has Kim Cattrall and Andrew McCarthy and James Spader. James Spader. Who knew that James Spader would go from this to such great heights as The Blacklist and The Office and
Mannequin
Ultron.
did do well in the theaters, didn't it?
It did, okay, I think.
It did enough to get a sequel.
Yeah.
Yeah, and we were all happy about that. Sequel is just an excuse to bring Misha Taylor back as Hollywood.
Didn't that sequel have Michelle Pfeiffer in it?
You're thinking of Grease too.
Yeah, Grease too.
Wrong one.
This one also had Estelle Getty in it.
What's that?
Estelle Getty was in this as well.
Estelle Getty was in this, and again, Wanamaker's building. You see, and look, Cthulhu Jack. You may not know we're Philly based, and they just closed the Macy's, which is in the Wanamaker's building, and it's got a lot of history, personal history for a lot of Philadelphians. Because they're closing it down, and there's an organ and there's a light show, and it's just to watch this movie and to see the scenes that take place inside, it's like, it's Philadelphia. But it also had that tease of Kim Cattrall, yeah, she's a mannequin, but she's still, loses things from time to time. It's a fun movie. It's
Well, this would be a great double feature with Career Opportunities with Jennifer Connelly.
With Jennifer Connelly.
That's true. Yes. Yes, that would be a good.
And they both take place in not a mall necessarily, but it's Target.
in a store, yeah.
Yeah, there you go.
Yeah. No.
We could just do a double feature of watching Kim Cattrall come to life and Jennifer Connelly riding a little horse.
Exactly.
So, Kevin, without looking it up, this film was nominated for 1 Oscar. Do you know what it was for?
Visual effects?
Nope.
Soundtrack.
It was nominated for Best Original Song. Nothing's Gonna Stop Us Now.
Nothing's gonna stop us now.
Which iteration was that? Was that Jefferson Starship?
Yes.
That was Jefferson Starship, right? Yeah.
Yes.
So, yeah, Mannequin. Man,
Man.
watched this a lot as a kid, not because I wanted to watch it. My sister loved this movie and used to put it on all the time. So it was like on all the time in my house. That's a good one, man. All right,
fun.
let's get Jack to try to stump us with another one. He's doing pretty good so far.
Yeah. Let's try. I mean, we're putting up a good fight, aren't we?
We got 1 out of 3 so far.
Let's see. All right, so 1984. Kelly Maroney and Catherine Mary Stewart are the 2 leads.
Okay. That doesn't help me.
That does nothing.
Fried green tomato.
And just in case you're a big fan of the director, it's Thom Eberhardt.
Thom Eberhardt. Jesus. What's the plot?
The plot is 2 Valley girls survive a comet-induced zombie apocalypse in this campy sci-fi comedy. Yes, Night of the Comet.
Wow. Yeah.
Wow.
I know the film. I don't know the actors' names.
I know. I saw that. I was like, whoops.
Good job there, Mike. Night of the Comet.
Boy, the 80s were pretty depressing. It's a lot of alien invasions or like a lot of either nuclear holocaust or comets and all sorts of. Then you get stuff like Mannequin and Career Opportunities on the other end. So.
I think
it gets balanced out.
Some of it is like, the increased popularity of like Spielberg and Lucasfilms too at the time, and a lot of like people trying to ride that wave of like these high concept sci-fi films.
Oh yeah.
Close Encounters and E.T. and
then you've thrown the Sword and the Sorcerer movies and the Mad Max knockoffs. I mean,
Mm-hmm.
the 80s was quite a smorgasbord of.
Don't forget about the Wrath of Khan coming out.
Last Starfighter.
Last Star. Oh, God, I love Last Star. God damn, that should have been on my list.
Number 7.
That should have been on my list, man. Last Starfighter. You know how badly I wanted to play video games and get abducted by aliens because I was so good at them?
So yeah, for me it was Tron. I wanted to be inside of a computer. Tron was the best. Those light
Tron.
cycles.
It was Tron, Last Starfighter, and Flight of the Navigator that wanted me to get abducted by aliens. Oh man, God, I love the 80s.
Okay.
I know I've seen this movie, but it was so long ago.
Night of the Comet. Yeah. It's funny because this Night of the Comet and Night of the Creeps. Night of the Creeps is another good one from the 80s. It's that would be a good double feature.
Yeah, I mean, I would
bonus.
You could double feature it with Last Starfighter since what's her name's in both of those. In Night of the Comet and Last Starfighter was Catherine Mary Stewart. Catherine Mary Stewart was in both of those. She was also in Weekend at Bernie's.
Oh my God, I've seen that movie.
Speaking of a movie at the tail end of the 80s. So good. Mike has brought us back to 50% with that guess.
I was talking to somebody about it not too long ago. That's why it came up. That's why I brought the synopsis of like, I know that one.
I'm pretty sure that one was on that 3-hour long bracket we did, Mike, on the.
I would not remember it there.
My next one is the shirt that I am wearing this evening. I got my Mrs. White Clue T-shirt on that Kevin gave me for Christmas. Because it is flames on the side of my face. Clue from 1985, another movie that did very poorly at the box office, but has had a following and still lives on. And I mean, it's on Amazon Prime right now if you want to watch it. It's I'll watch anything that Tim Curry does anyway.
He's just a red herring.
I love Tim Curry. I love Madeline Kahn is a national treasure. I mean, the whole cast is amazing. I love this movie so much. And we did a recasting of this back on episode 92, recasting of Clue.
Yes, we did.
Yes, we did. I'm not going to look it up. We're pushing it a little bit here tonight, but yeah, we did a recasting of Clue. If you'd like to know who we casted in some of those roles, go back to episode 92.
If they were to remake the movie, reboot the movie, or whatever you want to say, now, considering the incantations, the evolution of the board game itself, would we even know who some of the characters are? Because I know that they've changed characters. They've changed.
They've only changed one. They changed
one.
One. It's white. They went to Orchid.
Orchid.
Yeah, Orchid. Yeah.
So, I'm looking it up here. It looks like there is a Clue remake in the works.
No.
I heard about that. Yeah.
Based on the Hasbro board game, a band of strangers frantically try to figure out who the murderer is among them. And it looks like it is slated right now to star Ryan Reynolds and Jason Bateman.
That might not be bad.
That's all I have so far. That's all they have so far. It's in pre-production right now. It's just basically a spec script at this point, I think.
Those two might not be bad for it, though. You know what I'm saying? Like, for the comedic aspect.
It depends on where Ryan Reynolds' reputation is at that point. So, yeah, I can't say enough about Clue. Another one I can do a whole episode on. Mike, your last one on your list here. I'm disappointed I didn't put this on my list since it is the ringtone on my cell phone.
It's like the cinema. It is the 80s. Cult film.
It is Peter Weller, Jeff Goldblum, Clancy Brown, John Lithgow. Who else am I missing? Christopher Lloyd.
Oh my God! Then there's like a whole cast of B characters that are in that.
Yeah, I mean this is a quintessential 80s
cult
film. Yeah,
The Adventures of Buckaroo Banzai Across the Eighth Dimension, 1984.
I mean everything you need to know about this film as far as how 80s is it is in the description of the main character, Buckaroo Banzai, who is a rock star, physicist, and brain surgeon.
Adventurer, brain surgeon, rock musician. Buckaroo Banzai.
So, yeah, I was disappointed. I forgot about this one because it's my ringtone.
Look at that cast, though, man. Ellen Barkin, Peter Weller, John Lithgow, Rosalind Cash, Christopher Lloyd,
Ronald Lacey,
Ronald Lacey, who, I mean, I just know him from Raiders of the Lost Ark, but still.
Clancy Brown.
Mm-hmm.
Just it's so, oh man. And Ellen Barkin is awesome. In this movie, it's
always good.
Always good. But this is like early young Ellen Barkin.
Oh yes.
Not that current day Alan Barkin still isn't, but yeah, man, I can't. Yeah, another movie starring co-starring Vincent Schiavarelli, the creepy subway ghost from Ghost.
Yeah, exactly. I was trying to think of who that was.
So let's take count here. We got 2 films with Kim Cattrall, 2 films with Vince Schiavelli, 2 films with Mark Harmon, 2 films with Sean Connery, and one of those films is Sean Connery and Mark Harmon. Seeing a pattern here. So the last one on Kev's list, we go back all the way to episode 1 for the
first one.
First time we talked about this movie on the show because it had a lot to do with Kev's obsession with Fairuza Balk.
Which me and Leo both think is a creepy fucking movie.
Oh man, this movie scared the shit out of me when I was a kid.
This movie's terrifying. But apparently a lot of this shit was in the actual books.
Yes.
Adrian loves this movie. All the movies, she loves that one.
Yeah, of all the movies, I'm surprised your wife likes this movie. Well, go ahead, Kev.
I mean, The Witch That Changed Her Head. So this is Return to Oz from 1985, starring Fairuza Balk, and nobody else anybody knows.
Well, you got
Gene Marsh, you got Nicole Williamson, you got Piper Laurie, you got Tim Rose, who surprisingly played Admiral Akbar. It's a crap. It's a crap.
He did the voice of TikTok. There was a dwarf actor in the TikTok costume.
In the TikTok costume.
Yeah.
The Wheelers. Yeah, the Wheelers
were scary
the hell out of me. The witch that would just change her head at will. That
was the Gene Marsh character. Gene Marsh was also the villain in Willow.
Oh, that's right. That's right. She was Queen Bavmorda. I should have put Willow on here as my 80s cult classic.
That's I mean, there's so many, man. There's so many movies. Piper Laurie, of course, was in Carrie. She was Carrie's mom.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, this movie is. I mean, we've talked about this before. How so many movies from the '80s that were considered children's films are just nightmare fuel.
Right. So I'm going through it and I see Sophie Ward. I was like, oh, she looks familiar. Where do I remember her from? Young Sherlock Holmes. Magnificent movie.
Oh, there's another good one.
There's another name on here I forgot was in this film. It's Deep Roy plays the Tin Man. He would go on to be the Oompa Loompas and the Tim Burton, Willy Wonka, and
he's in a lot of things.
Yeah, I mean he's in a million different things. There's another cult film from the 80s that Deep Roy was in, man. Never Ending Story.
Oh yeah.
So many.
But this movie was dark. Dorothy got electroshock therapy.
That's how movie starts. I don't remember that. Judy Garden one. I don't remember Judy Garden getting electroshock therapy. I mean, I think that happened behind the scenes, according to some of the stories from the way they treated her on set. But
yeah, but in her version of they didn't have electricity in Kansas at that time.
That was the Dust Bowl. Where did this come from? Yeah. Man, that movie is so creepy. I can't believe your wife likes this film. It's not the kind of film I'd expect your wife to.
I think we should sit down and make her watch it again and see if she really likes it now.
Yeah. You know, one of the scariest things in this film is the pumpkin dude who's actually a good guy, but he's frightening.
Jack, yeah.
Oh, Jack, yeah.
He is.
They're all kind of terrifying. There's a moose head attached to a couch, and it flies.
Yes.
I would like to blame this on how cocaine fueled the 80s were at times, but this is, like you said, based on a book. And having read the book, it is fairly accurate. Oh God, that's a great one, man.
That's another episode we could do. Children's films that are actually scary.
80s. Dude, Secret of Nim, Watership Down, Dark Crystal, Black Cauldron.
No wonder Gen X always questions authority. Look what we grew up on.
But also,
we grew up traumatized, but had nobody to talk to about it, so we just internalized it and turned it into our adulthood.
Exactly.
And that's kids that lived outside of cities. We were gone, or like ever. Didn't come home.
Come home when the street lights are on. Yeah,
that was it. We were just on.
So let's go on to Jack's next one here and see if he can stump us one more time, or if we can walk away with a winning record.
All right. Well, I can give you one to stump you if you want. No, but I don't know. This was a tough one to pick, but because I have a whole pile here. But let's see, 1985. So we're going to go down the cast here. Let's go with Billy Barty, since we're talking about little folks. And then we've got another double cast of Tim Curry. He's back. So we got him and Clue, right?
Mm-hmm.
And then we got Mia Sara, who's the lead.
This is Legend. This is Legend. Yeah, this is
Legend.
Yeah, this is the one with Tom Cruise.
Tommy
right?
Cruise.
I did that one on a.
I think you did it on a Film That Time Forgot episode, right? Yeah, Legend. Yeah,
Visual effects, the prosthetics from Tim Curry.
Oh, it's the best stuff.
Man, quintessential evil devil, look.
Well, his whole performance alone, too, with that, and on top of the fact that he's able to get that stuff to move flawlessly while he's, saying his lines, everything. I mean, I don't know. I mean, you look at that stuff and then you look at a lot of the CG stuff that's still done today. And to me, that just really holds up really incredibly well.
It does.
It's very menacing.
We always talk about that. Yeah, we talk about that a lot, like how much we love practical effects. Like there's just something so charming about it. And if done right, like you're saying here, like I have no idea that's Tim Curry under that makeup.
No, it took me years to figure that out when I was a kid. I was like, who is that?
Yeah, like it took me years to figure out that was him there and as the clown in It. As Pennywise in the TV version It.
Right now.
Like both of those, because it's not just the makeup too, it's the performance. Like it doesn't sound like him.
Right now in my film appreciation class, we're handling special effects, like movies with special effects. And we cover Jurassic Park, which was groundbreaking with the CGI, but like the magnitude of having to construct a Tyrannosaurus Rex of that size and have it actually there, and how much that does for the actor and the actress to actually see it and to react to it. The whole scene with the T-Rex crashing through the dome top of the Ford Explorer, which was an accident, but it worked out great for the film, and how the reaction to it, as opposed to seeing or acting as if you're seeing something with tennis balls and stuff,
Yeah.
I've always said
because everybody's going to have the directors sometimes, if they have the idea of what they want, they'll obviously, dictate that to the actor. But then a lot of times too, the actors are, using their own imagination. So the performance may not come out exactly how it should, comparatively speaking, to what the director may be thinking, if that object isn't actually there. Whereas if you have the thing there, and interacting with it like that, I think it's just so much, you just get a better performance.
Right. Like Heath Ledger coming off the elevator in The Dark Knight. Michael Caine forgot his lines based off of the interaction, just of him appearing and acting the way that he did. It's like, that's genuine,
Well, I'll give you a new example. Longlegs. You probably read that.
That's one of my favorite actors, by the way.
But Cage, he never saw the lead actress there, and she never saw him until the first scene they shot was them together in the room. And, and that's how that was all presented. So, I mean, she was terrified of that whole sequence, the way, coming across with him and so on and so forth. Now, he's not necessarily a special effect, but again, it's the performance that you get to bounce yourself off of, which lends itself much better than.
I think you argue that Nicolas Cage is kind of a special effect himself.
Well, yes, no, I mean, there's no doubt about that. I mean, comparatively speaking to a tennis ball.
Where a lot has changed where they mix the special effects and with the motion capture. So the actor's actually there with all the balls on them, but at least you're interacting with the actor. Yeah.
Like
right. They did that with
Andy
the
Serkis
Planet of the
in
Apes films,
yeah.
the Planet of the Apes, but also as Gollum, you know.
Yep.
But kind of going back to like the earlier like films and practical effects and you know, not preparing your actors for what's about to happen. Like I just always think of like Alien in 1978 when the chest burster scene was a scene that was like minimal preparation for that because they wanted the actor's natural reaction, and you see how well that scene plays out. You know,
exactly.
And I've always talked about Jurassic Park being like my gateway into being the film lover that I am today because it was the perfect blend of practical effects and CGI.
Yes.
And made me want to go back and learn more about Spielberg's career, which led to me learning more about Carpenter and learning more about all these other people. And like that was the movie that kickstarted my love of like cinema and wanting to be a cinephile. So yeah, I mean these are the things that why we love these movies so much. I'm gonna skip my last one because I'll put it on like on the list of like honorable mentions just for the sake of like time tonight. Jack, do you have any more movies you'd like to try to hit us with and see if you can stump us one more time?
Sure. Let's see. I got all right, this one's 1982. I'm just going to read you the synopsis because none of the actors in it you'd probably know offhand.
Wow.
Thank you.
A trippy sci-fi comedy about aliens harvesting human endorphins in New York punk underground. It's avant-garde style, gender-bending characters, and electronic score give it a unique cult status.
Killer Clowns from Outer Space.
No, but that's a good one.
Oh, that's definitely one should have been on the list too. I was going to say I wanted to say Repo Man, but you said I wouldn't know any of the actors, and I know Estevez is in that one.
And that's 1984.
That's 1984. This is
82.
82. I feel like I know it.
Earth Girls Are Easy.
Earth Girls Are Easy.
That's 88, but no.
Say the plot again for me, Jack.
A trippy sci-fi comedy about aliens harvesting human endorphins in New York punk underground. It's avant-garde style. Gender-bending characters and electronic score give it a unique cult status.
You sure it's not Earth Girls? Or
I wanted to say Repo, the genetic opera, but I think that's a lot later. No, you got me on this one.
Yeah.
All right. Liquid Sky.
Yeah, I have no idea what that is.
Never.
Granted, I was 5 years old in 1982, so I probably wasn't seeing that in the theater. But
I think I still have the cassette tape of the soundtrack, which is trippy as hell. But, yeah,
wow,
that's a good one.
Yeah, Jack, you've given me a lot of homework to do.
All right, well,
Next time
all right, let's see. I got one more for you.
Okay.
This is a dark 1985, and this is a director you would know.
Mm-hmm.
Of course, if I mentioned his name, he's done a million wonderful films. Dark comedy tracks Griffin Dunn descent into a nightmarish odyssey in New York City after a date goes wrong. Its paranoid humor and stylish weirdness have cemented its cult cred. Do you know the director of that movie and the movie name? Very famous director. Likes his mob movies.
Is this a Scorsese film?
Yes, it is. Now, can you name the movie?
Wait. Say it again. What was the plot again?
Mark Scorsese's dark comedy tracks Griffin Dunn's descent into a nightmarish odyssey in New York City after a date goes wrong. Its paranoid humor and stylish weirdness have cemented its cult cred.
Taxi Driver?
No, that's the 70s. It's not King of Comedy.
No.
Is it New York, New York?
Same year, I think. I'm sorry?
New York, New York?
No.
Because I know a lot of Scorsese films, obviously. I grew up in an Italian family. That's kind of like, you have to know Scorsese. But I'm drawing a blank on this one. trying to think, because I know he had a lot of films in the early 80s where he tried to stray from his normal mode of filming.
This is definitely one of them, because you watch it, you're going, oh, wow. Scorsese.
It's not The Mission.
Nope.
Because, I mean, that's De Niro.
Right.
And you said I wouldn't know any of the actors that are in it?
Well, no, that was Liquid Sky. So
that was Liquid Sky.
Let me go back to this.
Scorsese. So he did Raging Bull in 1980. And then he did King of Comedy, New York, New York.
Roseanne Arquette's in it. Tommy Chong is in it. Terry Garr, Cheech Martin, Linda Fiorentino, John Hurd, Catherine O'Hara, Dick Miller, Will Patton, Bronson Pinchot.
Jesus. This is a weird cast for a Scorsese film, especially like Cheech and Chong.
They were.
Is it the Corsican brothers? Is it?
Nope.
God damn, man. I don't know. This is definitely one I'm going to have to add to the list because I have no idea. Let me see real quick. I'm going to look it up and see if I can figure out what we're talking about here. Not Mean Streets. I know that was in the 70s. Let's see here. So this would be the early 80s. Let's
After
see.
Hours.
Did you say
After Hours. After Hours.
Hours.
After Hours.
After Hours. Okay, yeah, that's a much lesser known Scorsese film.
Oh yeah.
Wow.
But
that was like
yes, man. I mean,
yeah, that was a whole run he did in the 80s, which I think ended with The Passion of the Christ, and then he was like, "All right, I'm going back to what I know best."
Give me my Goodfellas.
Yeah. Wow, that's a good one.
Catherine O'Hara, Linda Fiorentino, Rosanna Arquette, Terry Garr. Man,
I should have had it after the Linda Fiorentino thing because I remember her in the film, but I don't remember like the film that well. Like it was just,
yeah, it's very
so odd.
It's very odd.
it had cousin Balky in it.
So I mean, Bronson Pinchot and Cheech and Chong are in a Martin Scorsese film.
What
ridiculous.
Let's.
I wonder if you could do a double feature with that and Crime Wave. Sam Raimi and Bruce Campbell.
Yeah. So this was a lot of fun. So I'm gonna close it off here with some honorable mentions that I have here. Midnight Run, which was going to be my last one. One of my favorite De Niro performances. I have David Lynch's Dune as an honorable mention. I know it gets a lot of hate, but I love this movie.
That's a great film.
Heathers, which was 1989. Yep. I always think it's a 90s film, but it actually came out in 89. We mentioned A Toxic Avenger already. We mentioned Masters of the Universe in UHF a little while back. I also have The Burbs with Tom Hanks and Carrie Fisher. I like that. I like that movie. Hey, if Kev can like Joe versus the Volcano, I can like The Burbs. Flash Gordon. As an 80s cult film. And these are early enough in his career and I think did poorly enough at the box office that I could throw these out there as cult films. Conan the Barbarian and Conan the Destroyer with Arnold Schwarzenegger.
Yes.
Yeah, I agree with that.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So I got a few quick shout outs here, some submissions that we got on the socials. That remodeling chick on Reddit gave us Say Anything with John Cusack. Ione Sky, Eric Stoltz, Lily Taylor, etc. So thank you, that remodeling chick, for that shout out there for Say Anything. TAC29 on Instagram gave us The Breakfast Club. And yes, it was a popular film, did well in the box office, but I would say it's a cult classic because it has a dedicated and passionate following, and it still maintains its poignancy today. I think with the characters and their archetypes, And then our good friend, I promised him Kevin wouldn't belch through his name this time. Mike Bruno 5282882 on Threads said, if the definition of a cult film is so bad it's good, then there are a few movies I watch on repeat. One Crazy Summer, Summer School, Big Trouble in Little China, Howard the Duck.
I thought about Howard the Duck, but we don't talk about bestiality on the show.
And but then he also said this. He said, I vaguely remember watching it anytime it was on HBO or Showtime, a movie called My Demon Lover.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, I knew you would know that one, Jack.
I think that's
you guys
that's
know
got
this one.
That's got Corey Heyman. Right?
No.
Corey Haim's not in this one. This is it stars Scott Valentine, who at that point was best known as Justine Bateman's boyfriend Nick on Family Ties.
That's right. Scott Valentine. Jeez.
Scott Valentine was in it. I don't think there's anybody else in this film that's really of like name. It is a homeless street musician becomes a demon when sexually aroused. And that is not a euphemism. He actually turns into a demon when he gets sexually aroused. I remember this film and I remember watching it because it was on HBO all the time.
After dark.
Thanks again to Mike for that one there. Mike, sorry. Again, I lost I think Mike Bruno 52882 on Threads. Thank you for your submission. Mike, you have any beer trivia history for us this evening?
Yes, I do. Periodic Brewing in Leadville, Colorado was the highest elevation brewery in North America at 10,156 feet above sea level. Another fun fact, water and beer wort boil at 194 degrees at that level, as opposed to 112 degrees at sea level, or 212 degrees at sea level. It takes 10 minutes to boil an egg at that level.
All right. We have a cinema quote of the week, which is ironically from Rucker Hauer.
In my experience, there are billions of dollars available for pieces of shit. Snow White. Sorry. As soon as the material distinguishes itself by something interesting, financing becomes problems. Rucker Hauer. I'm sorry. Did something slip out?
Yeah. I like that's a funny quote, like, for somebody. Billions of dollars available for pieces of shit, which explains movies like Split Second.
Or Split Second.
Distinguishes itself by something interesting, finance becomes a problem. Yeah, and then they don't want to spend the money on the things that are
Wait.
original.
Are you telling me the viewers have to think through this movie?
Yeah, I know.
They have to engage in thought? No.
Yeah. So, how are your drinks this evening, gentlemen?
As always, mine's pretty good.
I don't think I've ever had a tequila sunrise before, but I would definitely get it again.
You need to get tequila sunset. It's upside down.
I enjoyed my drink.
Grapefruit juice. No, it's just saying.
I enjoyed my drink, which is a shot that I extrapolated into a full drink that I had 2 of, and now I really need to go get a bathroom break. And Jack, how was your appropriately named Kraken rum?
Kraken. Oh, it's quite good. Quite good.
All right. So thank you, everybody, for joining us tonight for episode 189. We hope you enjoyed listening to the podcast as much as we enjoyed recording it for you. And thanks again to our esteemed guest, Cthulhu Jack. Make sure you follow him on YouTube. And where else do you say you're on? You're on Rumble.
Rumble and YouTube.
Rumble and YouTube at Cthulhu Jack Presents. His videos are awesome. Everybody needs to check them out. They're a lot of fun. We interact a lot in the comment section afterwards. So
that's always fun. Look in the comments.
Yeah, it's a good time.
You guys are always great.
Don't forget, you can drop us an email at filmsoffermentation@gmail.com or visit linktree.com/filmsoffermentation. Find all of our social media podcast links. Get us on Roku at the Pod Nation Media Network, Patreon, buy our stuff at Teespring, or text us at 904-867-4466. Hopefully I didn't talk too much tonight.
The fax machine is down, but we should have the fax repairman come out this week, and it should be back up by the end of next week.
We are still using the payphone on the corner of Broad and Lombard. So.
Page us at...
Yeah. So don't forget to stop by the crossroads between Pickled and Fermented next time around for episode 190. Baseball season has just started. So we are going to revisit a baseball classic, a film that we all love, and do a little deep dive into that film. That movie is A League of Their Own with Gina Davis and Tom Hanks from the
There's
90s.
no crying in baseball.
There is no crying in baseball, but there is crying in podcasting. Once again, I'm Leo.
I'm Kevin.
I'm Mike.
And I'm Cthulhu Jack.
And make sure you check out Cthulhu Jack's YouTube and Rumble channel, like we said. Thanks again for joining us. This has been the Films and Fermentation Podcast. Cheers, everybody.
Cheers.
Cheers.